Art to me is just conveying emotion or representing something from life or a thought. I'm not a student of art. I'm not the wine drinking, you know, what do I see in this painting type of person. I'm just about, you know, throwing on some paint and stopping when it looks like something. That's what art is to me. Art is something that you don't mind having hanging on your wall.
I'm not actually an abstract fan.
This is her taste in artwork, cats driving a stagecoach.
I think it's cute, and I think it's funny, and it's an expression of me.
I don't think that's art, but I put a lot of time into it. There's no real modern art galleries in Gettysburg. It's a lot of Civil War generals and landscapes. And so even my bright, colorful cat and dog pictures was pushing the envelope for them. And I thought, no way they're going to sell abstracts by a horse. Good job, buddy. Boy meets horse, boy falls in love with horse. Boy gets talked into bringing the asshole home. When we adopted him, we didn't even know what to do with a horse. We didn't have a halter or a rope. Knobby knees, severely underweight. To anybody who knew horses, they knew this horse had problems. But I think the trainers are thinking, you guys are naive enough to take Metro, which we were. We ended up with a horse with a lot of attitude problems that we needed to figure out. Every time I touched him, he would try to bite me. If I touched him towards the back, he would try to kick me.
Turn around and just tore into my leg.
Pretty much everybody who comes in contact with him has been bitten at one time or another. But a horse that would also change our lives.
Metro Meteor is coming down the center of the course, and he is coming hard. Metro Meteor kicks in and kicks clear.
It's kind of looking at greatness, and you just want to see him relive his glory, I guess. Since he was crippled at the track, everybody had kind of written him off. He was lucky that we were the ones who took him home, because eventually he was going to end up being put down, ended on a truck to slaughter somewhere. The one last trail ride I took on him, you know, it was real light. There was one last hill that Metro was always eager to run up going home. He really struggled getting up that hill, and I hopped off. We got x-rays, and it really wasn't good. It was just the worst feeling that he was in pain because of me.
His knees were basically so bad that we were expecting him to lock up.
The next day, I was training him to hold a paintbrush. It sounds crazy. I told Wendy. Wendy's like, you know, okay.
I laughed, you know, took a swig of beer and laughed. I just went to the hardware store, got some cheap brushes, and we'd just stand there, and I'd hold the canvas in front of him. I'd just wait him out, and when he touched his nose to it, I would click and hand him a treat. And then I would just start handing him brushes. And I can't teach him to make brush strokes. I didn't know how to do that. Our career could have been over real quick, but he kind of went to town and just started painting. Wherever I hand him the brush, that's where he's going to start painting. What he does after that, I have no control. What do you think it needs? That green is looking good. He's making all these neat little brush strokes that I can't do because humans overthink things. They wanted everything to be perfect. They want nice straight lines. They want this and they want that, and he just gets these neat strokes. I'd hang this on my wall, and having it, painted by a horse was just a bonus. Everybody had said Metro's not going to amount to anything. Well, we found a skill for him, and he's pretty good at it. I sold the gallery on the idea that, hey, if you put up a couple Metro's paintings, I might be able to get you an article in the local paper. And they kind of went for that.
And we're a fine art gallery. Did I have to defend Metro's art? Yes.
Some may accuse our commentator of getting on a high horse, but today it's more of a hobby horse Frank is interested in.
Here's the hint.
Okay.
He has 4 legs, loves to chomp on hay, and will sniff you up and down.
We're talking about Metro, the painting racehorse.
He had a terminal condition.
Now, he is world-famous Metro.
Paintings weren't even going on the gallery walls anymore. They were sold sight unseen.
You own a couple of Metros, do you?
No, seriously, do you?
Give him a brush and let him go.
We're working on getting him a book deal.
Pretty soon we'll have to look out for knockoffs.
Our best-selling artist at the time would not be on the same wall with a horse.
His work is in high demand.
I know. I wish I had his career. We couldn't paint him fast enough, and he was so popular, and people just loved him. I mean, we could have bagged up his poop and sold it.
I'm going to say C, racehorse. Final answer. You're correct!
It was overwhelming. My horse was famous, but he can't do his own interviews. All of a sudden, I'm the spokesperson. And it's not a role that I really wanted. I'm never happy with myself. Never.
And now we're interviewing him.
Yeah, that sucks.
I told him when Metro's gonna get famous, and because there's TV's coming around, I said, you're gonna have to go on there.
Yeah.
And that's what I get. Yeah. You need to suck it up, buddy, and just, See, I'm not like the, I'm like.
Yeah. Yeah, she's tough love.
I'm like,
If it wasn't for Metro, I'd be the guy who just didn't want to leave the house. The only time I'd leave is if Wendy made me.
I was glad to see Ron come out of his shell.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, good to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming out.
Because, I'm not going to be around forever. I mean, I could get in a car accident tomorrow, and I don't want him to be sitting in the house the rest of his life and never getting out.
I don't need people. I can entertain myself. There you go. Nice to meet you, Cassidy.
You think you're a social outcast?
Yeah. So I spent a lot of time alone when I was a kid. My parents are a different breed. There's not a lot of hugs and praise. I wrote a book about Metro. My parents have both read it, haven't said a word about it. I don't get a call from them saying, good job. Being an artist and working in my basement and only dealing with people through emails is perfectly fine with me. I never sold one of my own abstracts. Eventually, I gave in and started doing pet portraits, and I've been doing it full-time for 10, 12 years now. When Metro started taking off, I was kind of living my dream through him. I mean, even though Metro's name was on him, it's kind of, that's my artwork too. Would I love to be a successful abstract artist? I sure I would. I'm not, but my horse is. We are heading up to the barn. Metro's vet, Kim, is coming to give him his shots for his bone remodeling treatments on his knees.
I'm just gonna give him a little bit of sedation. It'll help him relax for the procedure.
When I first met Metro, he had a couple of bone chips in his knee and subsequently had arthritis. He was having trouble just getting up. Even walking from his field into the pasture was a challenge.
We realized we have a problem. We're not gonna be able to control Metro's pain.
Kim said this bone growth is life-threatening. He's only got 1 or 2 years left to live, where he's going to lay down in the pasture and he's not going to be able to get up on his own. You got no choice but to euthanize him after that.
That kind of upset me.
Especially after what we saw yesterday.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, he couldn't breathe. He was like, I mean, I know he's old and fat, you know.
That's because he's an artist now. He's not a racehorse anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of like you riding a bike around the block,
Yeah.
you know?
Underneath his mouth.
Kim found a drug from Europe that she thought might work, but she told us, you know, I'm not making any guarantees. It's going to cost you thousands of dollars. That's probably not going to work.
The treatment actually, even though it was being used in Europe, it was not being used to treat knees. So when I presented it to Ron, I said, well, it's experimental. No one's tried it. I can't guarantee that it would work, but it might, and you're out of options.
Good. Good boy, Metro. You've still got good spacing. So really, it is more just across the front. You've got good joint
So the hose
surface
is working the way we want it to work.
Right.
Okay.
I'd say we're holding steady. I mean, are we getting the improvements that we would want? No, we're not really improving, but he's not worsening. The painting is what raised money so that he could afford to get the treatments.
He found a way to save his own life. A lot of people look at horses as a commodity. They buy them, sell them. I love that horse. I love spending time with him. You know, he's part of the family. When Metro dies, I'm not getting another one. I mean, he's the last horse I'll ever have. People love Metro as an artist, except for artists. They get real offended by it. I'm an artist. My paintbrush is guided by the hand of God, you know? They actually take it to that level, and I just answer back, it's like, well, my paintbrush bites and kicks, you know? I think I got a little more working against me. I mean, if people can throw paint into a fan and watch it blow across the canvas, they have just as much control as I do as handing a paintbrush to my horse. The good thing about painting is that is the only time during the day where my head is just free. The rest of the day, I overanalyze everything. You get lost in the painting. All I'm thinking about is what color I'm gonna hand Metro. Oh, you broke one. You know, here I am with a 1,200-pound animal that I can move with a finger. I can hand a paintbrush to him on a certain spot of the canvas, and he's gonna take it from me and make a brush stroke. That's the expression I get out of working with Metro, that he, you know, it's the man and beast thing, that I have control. I have taught a horse to paint. But I'm kind of reluctant to take too much credit for his paintings because that takes away his story. You know, I don't want to dismiss him as just being a paintbrush, because he's a fucking painting horse. That's pretty cool.